In La Liga, an 84-year-old record was broken, and not in the intense El Clásico match. In the Bundesliga, Thomas Müller played his final game at the Allianz Arena after 25 years. And in the Premier League, Manchester United just sealed their worst season since 1962. My name is Janis, and this is the only full matchday recap on YouTube that covers everything in under 10 minutes. Let's get into it. The year is 1941. Edmundo Suárez de Trabancho had just scored a hat-trick against Real Sociedad. 3 goals in just 15 minutes. Little did the Valencia legend know he just made history. His La Liga record stood firm. 5 years, 10, 50, until 84 years later, this guy showed up. Sørloth, 11 minutes, hat-trick. Against, you guessed it, Real Sociedad. In a league that's seen R9, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, it was the Norwegian striker who broke the unbreakable record in his first season at Atletico. And speaking of freak scoring records, the fact this one lasted this long makes Lewandowski's 5 goals in 9 minutes feel even more alien. Though this weekend, the Polish striker wasn't breaking records, just benches. He spent the entirety of El Clásico watching from the sidelines. Because yes, we had another one, the 4th and final El Clásico of the season. Real Madrid had already lost all 3. Now they had the last chance to make things right. And maybe keep their title hopes alive. With Barcelona just coming off 120 grueling Champions League minutes, the odds look decent. Mbappé showed he's finally completely settled into Madrid life and dropped a hat-trick in an El Clásico. What a legend. The thing is, it wasn't enough. Barça answered with 3 goals from Raphinha, Yamal and a brace from Raphinha. With a 7-point lead and just 3 matches to go, Barcelona have practically wrapped up the title too. What a game. I'll remind you again at the end of the video. Do yourself a favor and go watch the highlights. We can show them all here, copyright and all that. The Premier League featured a legendary clash between first place Liverpool and second place Arsenal. With the title already sealed, Liverpool had nothing to lose, while Arsenal still had to fight for Champions League qualification. The Reds showed no mercy and struck twice within 87 seconds. Arsenal responded in the second half with goals from Martinelli and Mourinho, who then went from 0 to 0 just 9 minutes later, picking up a yellow for fouls on Nunes and Szoboszlai. Despite the advantage, Liverpool couldn't capitalize. Marking the first time in over 8 years, they failed to win after going up 2-0. Elsewhere, Newcastle beat Chelsea 2-0 after a red card for Nicholas Jackson made things even easier. Nottingham Forest, once a surprise contender for Champions League football, continued their slide, managing only a draw against Leicester City. They still have a shot though, with a match coming up against direct rival Chelsea. A win there might still keep the dream alive. Meanwhile, City fired 26 shots and had 13 corners against bottom side Southampton, who only managed 2 shots total. And yet Ramsdale turned into prime Buffon and kept them to a goalless draw. With that single point, Southampton narrowly avoided setting the record for the worst Premier League season in history. And finally, Manchester United and Tottenham both lost 2-0. They're now officially the worst non-relegation teams, and somehow, one of them will still play Champions League football? Crazy. Last week, the race for Champions League qualification was wide open. This week, not so much. First, 4th place Nice lost 2-0 to Rennes. Then, 6th place Strasbourg's club record streak of 5 games without conceding was snapped in a 2-1 defeat to Angers. As if on cue, 7th place Strasbourg followed up with a 2-0 loss to Monaco. And just to round it all off, 5th place Ligue collapsed 2-0 against Brest, who by the way have now scored their most goals ever after 33 games, with 52. Meanwhile, Marseille handled business with a 3-0 win over Le Havre, thanks to goals from Giroud and Greenwood. That marks their 29th finish on the Ligue 1 podium. Italy only surpassed by Monaco, who just secured their 31st. And if there's one team likely to surpass them all eventually, it's PSG. The long-confirmed champions took on bottom dwellers Montpellier. Ramos backed a hat-trick in a 4-1 win, and in doing so, PSG handed Montpellier 2 negative records. No team in the 18-club league has ever lost 25 of their first 33 matches. And they've now conceded a club record 76 goals in a single top-flight season. 2 Champions League titles, 13 Bundesliga crowns, 1 club, 1 player, 25 years. Thomas Müller just played his final home game for Bayern Munich. He didn't mark the occasion with a goal or assist, but Kenan Olise made sure his farewell ended in a 2-0 win over Freiburg. Speaking of Freiburg, they had 1 foot in the Champions League, potentially as the first Bundesliga club ever to qualify with a negative goal difference. Their rivals Dortmund needed a win against Leverkusen to keep their own hopes alive. And let's be honest, Dortmund, like Man U, Tottenham or Milan, had a season to forget. But unlike those clubs, they actually clawed their way out of mid-table obscurity under new coach Niko Kovac. This weekend they faced one of their toughest opponents, the team that dethroned them as Bayern's closest competitor, Bayer Leverkusen. The Wags have struck first to from Prom. But then Dortmund went full redemption arc. Goals from Brandt, Ryerson, Adeyemi and Guirassy flipped the script. A late goal from Hoffmann only made the 4-2 scoreline look slightly less brutal. If Dortmund win their final game against already relegated Kiel, they will probably secure a Champions League spot, as their competition, Freiburg and Frankfurt, have to face off against each other. In other news, Stuttgart finally stopped the rot at home, smashing Augsburg 4-0, helped by an early red card for the visitors. That ends a 6-game home losing streak. Took them long enough. The match they kicked off with a clash between Bologna and AC Milan. After trailing 0-1 until the 73rd minute, Milan did what they've done best in recent weeks: come back from behind. Goals from Gimenez and Pulisic secured a 3-1 win and kept their theoretical chance at international play alive. Next up, Juventus looked set to hold on to a 1-0 lead against Lazio, even after going down to 10 men. But in true dramatic fashion, Vizinho equalized in the dying seconds. Both teams now sit on 64 points, but thanks to their superior goal difference, Juventus currently hold the Champions League spot. Fun fact: Juve haven't lost any of their last 6 matches in which they received a red card. Oddly consistent chaos. Then it was Napoli's turn to prove their title ambitions, but despite taking the lead twice, they let Genoa equalize both times. Inter, of course, saw the opening and pounced, beating Torino 2-0, including a stunning first goal for the club by Zalewski. With 2 games to go, Inter are now just 1 point behind Napoli. Last but not least, Atalanta vs Roma hadn't kicked off at the time of this recording. But considering Roma are on a 19-game unbeaten league run, including matches against Milan, Bologna, Fiorentina, Lazio, Napoli, Juve and Inter, I'm putting my money on a hard-fought 1-1 draw. That's it for this week's football roundup. Next week we'll cover the following matches and storylines. Serie A sees top matches in Inter Lazio, Fiorentina Bologna and Roma Milan all facing off. Ligue 1 gives us the meme of nice breast. In the Premier League we'll see Europa League finalists probably getting a beating from Aston Villa in the case of Tottenham and Chelsea in the case of Manchester United, while second and third place Arsenal and Newcastle face off. In La Liga we might witness Barcelona winning the league, unless they all keeps themselves in range with a win while Barça loses at the same time. And in the Bundesliga we'll find out if Dortmund, Freiburg or Frankfurt fail to register Champions League play, while Mainz and Leipzig, both tied on points, have to take on Leverkusen and Stuttgart to decide who can make it to international play next season. If you don't want to miss any of the action, make sure to subscribe to our channel, as we are currently the only channel which will cover a full matchday recap. Thanks for watching and see you next week.